those details. My other question was about a number that kind of stood off the page for me, which is this $578 million anticipated from ATE revenue. How? If Maryland and Virginia residents do not have to pay, that seems a little high to me.
Well, they do have to pay.
Well,
yes.
You know.
So
our challenge is with reciprocity as opposed to saying having to pay, but.
Sure. Well, let me just, this is how. In the last 2 years, the council has approved 342 new cameras related to Vision Zero initiatives. We're at about 140 now, and we anticipate that those 140, the additional 300, did I say that right?
342.
Say that again?
There's 342
new cameras.
So it would be like 448 when all said? Okay.
And those, I won't go into, like, there's been a protest about the camera, so now those cameras, even though they've been approved in the last couple of years, they will start to be placed in the upcoming year. Now, you know, this is what I believe. We don't really want to collect $1 from those cameras. We want people to stop at red lights,
right,
stay out of bus lanes, don't run stop signs, and stop driving recklessly in our city. That's what we want.
Right.
And we know over the years we have seen success with stopping red light running. Has been extremely effective. The cameras are extremely effective with kind of stopping our incidents with those. So that's how we get there. Our experience, I understand, Kevin, is that we collect about 70%. Is that correct?
So we don't create the number that we plug into the budget for ATEs. The OCFO does, and the revenue analysis team does. And I'll let the CFO go into detail, but they factored in both existing payment rates, which are not 100%, payment rates that are different for out-of-state drivers, as well as, if you look at the financial plan, backloading that to allow for there to be a ramp-up period throughout 2024. I'll let CFO Leesworth go into any more detail about how those estimates were generated.
Yes, thank you very much. That's exactly true. We have a fairly long ramp-up period between when we think it's realistic to expect net new money relative to the funding being available to implement the cameras. In the long run, there's an expectation of a diminishing return, as the mayor's described. We've tried our best to factor that in as well, and happy to go through the details of the estimate with you.
And I should say, Councilmember, if the experience is different next year, then we'll revisit it for the remaining years of the financial plan.
And that is an important point because there's very little revenue recognized by the CFO for 2024. So that which mitigates the risk that cameras roll out and the money they bring in is not consistent with the revenue estimate. The CFO was very conservative, in my view, for the fairly long initial.
Thank you, Councilmember Parker.